Well, Dallas, here we are. Great to be back in the cold rink and get things going for camp. I'm sure you're excited as well. Can you give us a sense of how competitive you expect it to be with lots of names that have been through the rookie tournament and even Leaf camp and exhibition games already?
Well, it's going to be real competitive. There's some great battles going on at the Leaf camp right now, and as guys get sent down, it increases the numbers here. Today we had 5 lines on the ice and 8 defensemen. And these guys know that there's more guys coming down, so there's great competition for jobs. Guys like Kenny Ryan and Jamie Devane want to play pro and see if they can stay, and we've got guys that are also competing for spots on our Marley team who don't want to go to Reading.
Well, you mentioned a couple of the young up-and-comers and the prospects. Why don't we go there for a minute and talk more about Kenny Ryan in terms of what he can bring to the table and maybe some things he needs to work on.
Well, Kenny, the great thing about Kenny is he can play center and he can play wing as well, so that works in his favor. He's improved greatly over the last season. He's very good in his own end, which is a rarity for young players. So as for things he has to work on, I think it's just overall, turning from a boy into a man. He's going to continue to get stronger and a little smarter on the ice. So it'll be a kind of a numbers thing for him and where he fits in. We don't want to keep a guy and only be playing a young player like that 5 or 6 minutes a night. If we deem that he's able to play kind of in that 12 to 15 minute range, then we'll keep him.
Jerry Namigo, another name that had a taste last season and ended up going to the junior ranks. What differences have you noticed very quickly from him and through his experience last year?
Well, I think it was great for him to go back to junior, to go back and put up some points and enjoy scoring again. He was a little bit snake-bitten with us, and I think the pace was maybe just a little too high for him. So far in camp, he's been excellent. I think he understands what he's got himself into here, pro-wise. He knows what to expect, and I think that's going to go a long way for him. A lot of times these guys come in, they just think, oh, I'm going to rip up the American League, and it's a tough league to play in. It's a very hard league to play in, and I think that half-year experience that he got last year will go a long way.
What does it say to have so many, both Marley and Leaf prospects coming out of the rookie term as well, go to the main camp and have some time in exhibition games with the big club as well?
Well, it's never a bad thing. It's never a bad thing to be able to go sit next to Dion Phaneuf or a Clark MacArthur, Luke Shen, and watch how they work and what they do in practice, how they carry themselves in the dressing room, what they're doing in the weight room, and all these players are doing here are taking in information all the time. So I'm glad that we brought them all into the main camp. I know we have a lot of numbers there, and it's a little hard to manage sometimes, but I think the experience for those players is great.
One of the great things I'd imagine for a coach is to have familiar players in terms of how you work a hockey team and the systems. Quite a few players on the ice today that you've already had a chance to coach. How does that affect your job?
Well, it makes it easy teaching-wise. We're going to wait here and see if 4 guys that I had last year will clear waivers or not. But when we get into our teaching here later in the week, listen, you have to spend 2 days on your forecheck. 80% of your team already knows it, and you can move on to the next thing. So I like being familiar with my guys. It's always exciting to have a new player or a young kid come in, but it's so great to have guys that you're familiar with, especially when you are getting ready to play games.
I was going to say, time-wise, there's not a whole lot of it before you hit the ice for exhibition. So what are some things you're trying to get across into the camp early and often?
Well, in practice right away, I'm a stickler on work ethic, and I expect them to come to the rink prepared and like we were just talking, guys being familiar with me, it's not a hard point to get across because the veteran guys are already doing it. The other thing I'm trying to do is get these guys that I don't know into good positions, like their best positions, so they can have some success. So that's a bit of a challenge with the lines and going into an exhibition game. And then in the exhibition game, I'm just going to let them play. It's we want to start teaching our systems and how we're going to penalty kill and all that. But in the end, I want to see who's got hockey smarts.